Welcome back to Narrative Character Sheet, a series of videos where we min-max our characters narratively and mechanically. Today on the agenda, Barbarians, big hulking warriors of strength and resolve, the Incredible Hulk, Conan the Barbarian, very infamous examples. While it's fun to think about playing a Barbarian, in reality it can be not so vibrant. A lot of the barbarians are stuck with stigmas and stereotypes of, oh, I'm just a dumb warrior, I rage all the time, that is all I do.
Okay, what's the first letter of the alphabet? This you know.
G.
That's the first letter of your name.
Oh, it is!
Yes.
What if that's not the only thing that you wanted to do with your character? What if you wanted to make a barbarian that is narratively complex, deep, deserves compassion and empathy? How can we make a nice, interesting story with a character whose entire strength is just their martial prowess? For the player segment of the video, I want to address the one big elephant totem in the room, which is barbarians are not very versatile. They are the fighter class, but they don't have the maneuvers, they don't have the spells, they just press rage and that's all they need. And most barbarian players are fine with that. The reason why most players pick Barbarian is because it's simple, it's easy, it's kind of fun. It is fun to play a Barbarian in combat, but outside of combat you can find yourself lacking a little bit. And a lot of Barbarian players don't need this long, satisfying narrative, they just want to hit people really hard, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you, a Barbarian player, find yourself watching this video thinking, what can I do to make this juicy, to make this better? What themes and ideals can I go into? That is what we're gonna go into today. First topic that I want to go over is the ideals. Every character has ideals, something they worship, something they follow. And in terms of Barbarian, a lot of them follow some specific tribal, nomadic rituals or exercises or meditations. You can think about that. Does your character maybe meditate or exercise before or after combat or in any specific scenarios? Is your character religious? Do they believe a specific tribal or not tribal entity or deity?
I am waiting for a good death.
Do they have a specific set of rules? And maybe is there a line that they will never cross, like harming an innocent? Moving on to subclasses, there isn't as much to talk about as in the Artificer video. 2014 brings us Paths of Ancestral Guardian, Battle Rager, Beast, Berserker, Giant, Storm Herald, Totem Warrior, Wild Magic, and Zealot, and 2024 adds Path of the World Tree. These subclasses vary from my attack be do better, and I connect with the cosmic tree Yggdrasil as it grows along the outer planes. The thing is, it all sounds fun, and these subclasses can go from kind of okay to very strong. They all kinda do the same thing, and this same thing that we're gonna talk about is your main feature, your bread and butter, your rage. What does rage mean for a barbarian? It means everything. It's their way of getting through life, whether it's combat or non-combat. If you're level 2 barbarian, you're gonna be raging. If you're level 17 barbarian, you're gonna be raging. And the only difference is how much more damage you deal and how many uses of them you have per day. I can really never see myself just playing a mono barbarian 1 to 20 because I would be so bored just pressing the same button. I personally crave variety and versatility and utility. But some players, again, as I said, just want to hit things. But with rage, most importantly, it doesn't have to be just a mindless anger. As long as the rage does what it does as per rules as written, as long as that block of text remains of what it actually does, you can kind of customize everything else. You can describe your rage. Maybe it's a kaiju-esque type fusion. Maybe it's a Super Saiyan power-up. Or maybe even a magical girl transformation. We discussed subclasses. We discussed rage. Let's address another thing. Combat. At the end of the day, Barbarian is combat. They're gonna excel in combat, and that's gonna be their main ways to show their features. What I don't like is when some games, some DMs, they roll out the battle map, they roll the initiative, And then everyone forgets about telling the story. It's almost like everyone collectively agrees, like, okay, the boring roleplay part is over, let's actually do the war game tabletop part. And people forget that D&D is both. At its core, the biggest narrative developments happen exactly during combat. And combat is the heart of conflict, and conflict is the most important thing in a narrative. So, with this, let's think, how does our barbarian approach combat? Maybe they think of the rage as the last resort and almost never actually use it outside of the most extreme cases.
Do not be sorry. Be better.
Maybe they have a certain set of rules, like I said earlier, where they need to fight honorably and they never accept some sort of an unfair advantage. Maybe your barbarian seeks glory and performance instead of efficiency and brutality, and they just want to be known as the most epic fighter across the lands instead of just getting the job done. Combat is extremely important to Dungeons and Dragons, no matter what edition. Most of the features of all classes work primarily in combat, and that goes especially for a barbarian. So if you know that this campaign that you're going into will not have a lot of combat, going just purely barbarian and that's it might not be so fun for you. So consider it thoroughly. And most importantly, please roleplay during combat. Describe your attacks, describe your strategy and how you're thinking with other players. Do stuff together if possible. Grapple things, shove things, hit things. Just have fun. Go wild. It doesn't have to be just standing and hitting until someone's HP reaches 0. It can still be intense narrative and roleplay moments. You can talk to your enemies, I don't know, intimidate them. You're a barbarian after all. Have fun with them, mess with them. Lastly, I want to talk about the theme. Let's come back to the Incredible Hulk for a moment. I believe it is the best example of a proper barbarian written correctly. Because at the surface level, Hulk is just a big green guy that hits things a lot and can take a lot of damage. Prime barbarian. But the actual moment of development, the moment that turns Hulk into this very interesting hero is that he is so much more than that. Not only the Bruce Banner aspect, the genius, the intellectual, but the Hulk himself. He has ideals, he has goals, he is sentient and intelligent no matter what. He has his own bonds and people. And what I'm trying to say with Hulk is that a lot of the comics about Hulk and about Bruce Banner, to me, revolve around identity and the loss of identity specifically. It goes into themes like, is my rage and anger controlling me, or am I controlling it? Can I trust myself that I will not go into rage and anger when I'm simply confronting a friend? Can I trust myself to not hurt those that are around me and close to me when I don't feel like I'm myself today? And these topics of anger and identity and loyalty are really important to barbarian players. Now, let's go to the DM side of things. Your player is a barbarian. What can you do about it? First, let's touch on world building. There is not a lot to discuss here. Most of the typical fantasy D&D campaigns already have plenty of these nomadic tribes and people living in their own communities in the wilderness. That is not unheard of. I would suggest to try to practice something a little more interesting than just, oh, the orcs are attacking us from the north. Their savage nomadic tribes are not up to discussion or negotiation. That can work, yeah, but we can make it something a little more spicy. What if we go with a tribe of barbarians that promotes intelligence and strategy and communication and politics and diplomacy, but once a month they do the purge, they all turn into their barbarian rage and they go savage and battle each other or their neighbors or something. It's really just, what if we make werewolves without the fur? What if we make an organization that knows what they're doing, but they are either hiding it or they're using it smart to their advantage? Now, when it comes to the story aspect, a lot of the barbarian players are kind of masochists in the mechanical and narrative way. They want you to hurt their character. They want you to challenge their character. They want the combat to be memorable, but most importantly, they want the narrative to be challenging. They want to challenge a rival clan, or maybe they want to become the leader of their own clan by some tribute of combat. Most importantly, the biggest challenge is versus self. When it comes to making a story for a barbarian player, you have to put dilemmas and questions and situations that make them ask questions about themselves. Come up with combats and scenarios where rage is not the solution. They have to think more creatively, push the barbarian out of their bounds of their comfort. It can be a story about a man trying to understand their identity. It can be a Hulk. It can be a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It can be a man trying to adjust to a world that he's not ready for yet because of his barbaric, outdated ways. That goes into our next topic, challenge. How can we challenge a barbarian? That can be pretty tough. They are the tankiest class in the game by far, just purely by HP. So we can challenge them narratively by making combats have secondary objectives, or the primary objective is not to reach zero of the enemy's HP. Maybe there's a combat where you need to hide something, or chase something, or protect someone. These combats can be the real bread and butter of the barbarian player because let's say you're protecting someone in combat, you need to protect an NPC. That's where they can shine in the way that they can channel their rage and their martial prowess, not towards destroying everything in their path, but towards protecting something instead. I believe for a barbarian player it is important to put a goal in front of them. It can be any kind of goal, maybe find something or kill something, or it doesn't matter. Put a goal in front of them that is not achievable right now, that is mathematically just completely physically impossible. But then as they understand their character more, and then they gain levels in Barbarian and gain reputation among their peers, as they just continue along the narrative and evolve their character, make that goal just slightly more and more achievable every time. That's what's really gonna drive the Barbarian further. Lastly, I want to talk about approach. And by approach, I mean how to approach a barbarian just at a table and how to make them happy. With that, it is easy to make most barbarian players happy. Most barbarian players don't really care about a complex narrative, political intrigue, 10 million NPCs. They just want to whack things, and that's completely okay. The main message that I want to send about this video is that a complex narrative is not necessarily a good one. You can enjoy a simple story. You can enjoy just a story of revenge where the barbarian goes and kills the killer of their parents or whatever, or a rival clan. It can still be enjoyable. Simplicity does not equal bad. The best thing that you can do, the best job you can do, is throw dilemmas and moral questions at them that question their view of the world, their view of their own character, and the view of the rage. After all, what kind of morale can we gain if raging, in fact, can solve everything? Thank you. That was Narrative Character Sheet.